If on average they're paying this much, I just want you to see how much is involved. So who could be the main beneficiary of this CBN policy? Is it, as School of Thought A has said, that it is going to be for the good of the economy, or is it, as is being insinuated by School of Thought B, that perhaps it will be special interests who have the access and have the power to take the most advantage of what is currently happening? So in whose interest do we make regulation? And this will be my final slide for now. Next one. The question we would like to ask ourselves today in this forum is it in the public interest? This choice by the CBN, is it going to be in the public interest in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term? In whose interest is this policy? The barrage of actions from CBN and other regulators, are they coordinated and mutually supporting? Will rules and standards be applied fairly to all? Are the actions targeted properly at solving problems in ways that minimize unintended consequences? Was communication around the actions open and honest? Will the CBN be accountable, or will it resist this public scrutiny of their actions? Are they prepared to justify the actions? And the CBN approach to regulation, is it flexible enough to keep up with the pace of needs of the affected industries and the development of the nation? I will leave it here, and I will hand over to a very able panel who will discuss the issues in detail. The panel will be chaired by Mr. Femi Awoyemi, who is the chairman of ProShare. A round of applause for him, please. He would like me to announce the panelists, so the panelists should please go on the platform. We have Mr. Muda Yusuf from Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. A round of applause for him, please. We have Mr. Frank Aigbogun, who is the proprietor of Business Day newspapers. We have Ms. Susie Onwuka of Consumer Protection Council. A round of applause for her, please. We have Mr. Oluwasegun Oshidipe of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And last but not least, Professor Pat Utomi of Center for Values in Leadership. A round of applause for all of them. Good morning. We'll try to keep to 1 hour. And by way of introduction, when you have esteemed members of this panel here, having to keep them under short 5 minutes responses will be the challenge of my role here. But I'm standing up here so that Professor Tomi can actually understand that I'm actually chairing the session. It is strange, but here is the thing. This is a very serious topic. Sometimes people tend to confuse the strategy with the politics, and it's important that we separate it in the form of the conversation. I think CBI also made a strategic choice in making me the moderator so that I cannot express some of my thoughts. By way of summary, therefore, I would like to say the following, and which may serve as a guidance to what Mr. Pampas presented. One is that governance has never been an easy thing. It may sound strange coming from me,
And as such, when you make conversations around a particular policy, it is always good to take it within the larger context of the whole policy. So the challenge for someone like myself, what I've seen is that, one, I've often not found an ideological direction with which we are talking, so you cannot create a context within which you put particular actions of government in a particular box. Secondly, the principle of forest restriction as a policy, economic policy, is often confused with these particular actions of government. There are classic examples of how forex restrictions have worked in different climes, and we don't need to beat around the bush. It doesn't really make sense if you do not have a broader economic context of it. So for the purposes of this conversation, the diverse members will share with us their perspectives on forex restriction as a policy and the objectives of which we want to go. So by way, they will make their presentations for about 5 minutes, and then we can start the dialogue. And on that note, I would like to defer, starting from my left here. Mr. Frank Irogo, your thoughts.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Fanny, thank you very much. I had a small conversation with Prof while we were sitting before being called up to the chair for the panelists, and perhaps you can benefit a little bit from it. And it's about how, in fact, I've advised him, he's a professor, and I've said to him that there's a danger in saying the same thing every year and every time about same problems that never go away in Nigeria, that maybe next time he should speak in Latin, and maybe next year he speaks in Dutch, next year he speaks in Afric, so that those who don't understand might think he's saying different things. But it's really something about the same problem. We have an issue here, and the issue is one where government, or at least the central bank, believes that we should be producing more milk locally. And I think that's just as good. But you would then ask yourself, before you get to the point of seeking to produce more milk locally, are you able to produce more milk locally? Are you able to do it cost effectively? Is that the best way to move the nation forward? Perhaps yes. What I have a problem with, and that for me speaks to the last slide that Sajid presented. We asked one question around the communication. Has it been honest? Was there any consultation? Is the policy flexible enough, given that if you were here and you listened to Sajid's presentation, we're talking about some very, very vulnerable part of society. He presented data that shows average consumption of protein of around 4.5 grams compared to something like 30 grams for others. And I was telling Prof, that 4.5 is average. There will be many that are below that average. There will be those who don't even consume even a gram in a day. And so we're talking about very vulnerable part of society. Now, when you deal with that kind of people, should you then make policy just, you are angry because some company has made some money bringing in milk, and you say, look, just shut down the borders, shut down everywhere. Is that the way to go about it? My submission is no. I think there should be more consultation, and that in the process of the consultation there should be a consensus that this policy is indeed the right one for Nigeria at this particular time. I believe if policy is not flexible enough, there ought to be a graduation over a number of years, giving people time to make the investment, because we're talking about private sector investment here. People will need to do feasibility studies. They will need to look at the entire value chain so they can position themselves. They will need to look at things around packaging. They will need to then raise capital. You can't do that. Surely they haven't been given time to do that. And so my submission is, there is a lot that is wrong with this policy. Even if the goal of the objective can be understood, we're going about it in a very wrong way. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Good morning. Is that Mr. G? He wasn't listening actually. When you was asking me I said, I thought I was retired. You know, when you retire, you should just watch. And I thought I should just come and cheer people like Femi telling us how the world should be ordered. And when Frank and I were sitting out there, I said, this deja vu is happening too frequently. I mean, I'm just going through, let's just begin with, what year was 1994? How many years ago was 1994?
That's 25 years.
25 years ago, 25 full years ago, the Harvard Business School Association of Nigeria started its budget workshop or seminar series. The very first one. I guess keynote speaker or something. It was at the Sheraton. Abacha had just taken over a few months ago, so the budget was delayed. And the budget finally got announced just 2 days before the designated day of the budget speech. At that time, I was in the National Council of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Of course, as I was on MUDA's Council of the Chamber of Commerce and so on and so forth. In the search for what I like to call negative legitimacy, when a government comes to power by a coup d'etat, it needs to gain legitimacy. And one of the ways to gain legitimacy is by saying everything that was done by those before them were wrong. So one of the things that Abacha was going to get rid of was this funny foreign exchange market, which had freed us from incredible things like PPIB. How many of you remember the prices, productivities, and incomes board? Let me tell you one effect of the PPIB. It set a price for selling motor cars. I used to work in the motor industry. If you look at the cost of foreign exchange, which did not come directly from central bank, as we all knew, it really worked out that every car you sold, you put a lot of naira in the boot and delivered to the person who bought it. So people invented a fairly strange thing. Since you could put a price on a new car, but you couldn't put one in a used car, the biggest business of the company was to generate used cars. Because on Saturday mornings, you auction used cars with a used car, and people of their own bid 3 times the price of a brand new car to buy a used car. Now that's the kind of regime that the foreign exchange market saved us from. When Abacha came, he said, we're going to get rid of these funny things Babangida did. So, when he announced that 2 days before this first budget workshop, my president, the president of MAN, Wakilin Adamawa,